Yours.
Okay guys, so yeah, just to start, I'm going to first of all talk to you in relation to how I became a band manager and how this came about as a hobby. It actually was instigated from being at my mate's 32nd birthday party. He got together with a couple of his friends, and the background to that really was they just didn't have enough to do in their lives outside of their girlfriends, and they all played an instrument of some sort. So they got together and started doing some jamming. So at the birthday party, he wanted to play for his friends. And I'm obviously one of his friends, so the nice thing about it was I was there at the very first gig. And I was so impressed that I went to them afterwards, individually and together, and said, guys, I really like what you guys have done. I'm keen if you'd be interested. I'd like to get you guys some gigs. I thought it would be fun, and to fill in my social calendar, I thought this is something that I can become better friends with these people, interact more, and really get my teeth into something that I was quite passionate about. I love music, so. And the answer was no. But all of a sudden, 6 to 8 weeks later, that friend, the singer, whose birthday it was, phoned me up. We've had a chat, Larry. Okay, go and get us a gig. So basically put my thinking cap on and started having a look on MySpace sites and things like that. And I was in the Brunswick Hotel, just a little kind of seedy pub on Sydney Road. And basically saw the manager, it was new guys taking over, and said, oh, we'd like to play a gig. So he gave us a Tuesday night gig. And it just happened that it was one of the nights where it was the worst storm of the year. It was horrendous. And yeah, we brought about 19, 20 people at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday night. And he was so impressed that he immediately booked us up for their grand final day. So 2 weeks down the line, we had to have a name. We also thought, right, well, from my point of view, is taking on the idea of managing them, which I just said, well, then I'm managing you guys now. Set up the MySpace site, Facebook site, put some posters together for the gig. And we had about 80 of our own friends and family that turned up to that grand final day gig, along with the fact that you're always going to get a great crowd of people anyway. So there was about 250, 300 people in the pub. A great introduction to, you know, being part of a band. And I have to say, from that day on, it wasn't just the band being them with the music. I became part of the band, and we formed what I class as great friendships, a bond, and we're part of our own little gang as a result of it. So that's really kind of how it started. The band's called the Anglesey, by the way. We all deliberate about changing names, but in the end of the day, we started with the Anglesey, so that's the way we're going to go on. So just moving on from that, that was the initial phase we started on. Then you find out, because we got a great opening, you then find out as you progress, so that was 2 gigs down, how much work is involved with trying to get your band's name out there, trying to then get gigs. We got a lucky break with the Brunswick Hotel, but you've got a million other pubs and you've got millions of other bands in Melbourne. And it's a competitive game, and it's a difficult game. So the next phase for me was obviously working on networking, which involved doing loads of ads on terms of MySpace, adding loads of people I didn't know, other bands, going to lots of different venues and seeing lots of live music, and just going out to see the people afterwards who play in the bands and say, look, this is our band, we'd love to play with you guys sometime. And put my neck on the line really to just sort of be a bit more forthcoming with it. So we ended up doing a few more gigs, the Edinburgh Castle. We tried to structure things because Melbourne's a big place, so my philosophy was we need to start in a specific area. Brunswick's where we started, so if we can build ourselves a bit of a name in the Brunswick area, then we get a bit of a following, because people don't always want to travel far to come and see you. So from that point of view, we started with Brunswick. As the months have progressed, we've started moving to Fitzroy, and interestingly enough, today Mark plays for another band called Ralph de Silva. Completely coincidental, but we actually play regularly with Mark's band. And through networking, again, it's just word of mouth, talking to each other. That's the way we've kind of developed. So we've done another 10, 12 gigs, some very successful, lots of people. We've had times where we've seen 5 or 6 people turn up to our gig, and that can be quite soul-destroying at the time. But it's all part of the ups and downs, and part of being in that group of people that are all working together on the same page. Mm. So where we are now is we're now 12 months down the line. So to give you an idea of how that's gone, my last meeting with the guys was very casual, over some food, and we sat down and said, well, this is what we've achieved so far. We've done X amount of gigs. Let's set ourselves some goals for the next 12 months. And we all sat down and we discussed it. So, you know, we have ambitions to get an EP done in this next 12 months, which is basically 5 or 6 songs recorded. We've got ambition to get some radio players as a result of that on the local radio stations, being PBS, Triple R. We also decided that we're at a stage where we're starting to get some people we don't know coming to our gigs, but also to try and broaden the perspective of having people there that don't know who we are. A little bit of merchandise. So we've actually gone out and bought a badge maker. It's only a little thing, it costs us about 80 cents a badge, but we now give out badges at 80 cents, which people put on, and they love the little freebie giveaway. And hopefully they then go to our MySpace site, and then they tell their friends, oh, we've been and seen a good band. It's all word of mouth. Word of mouth is a really great thing. Friends inviting friends along for a night out, you know, that's a great part of it. And yeah, it's led on, and next Saturday, the 23rd, we play the Grace's Band Room. We're headlining there, which is quite an achievement for us, because the Grace's Band Room has a reputation in Melbourne for being quite a well-known music venue. A lot of good bands have played there before us, and we're maybe not at that level, but we've been given the opportunity, and I truly believe with anything in life, you've got to grasp the opportunities that come to you. So we're going to do that gig. If anyone's interested in the details about it, feel free to come and have a chat with me afterwards. It'll just be a great fun night, lots of beer, and some good live music. So that's where we're at with that. It's a really interesting thing to get involved with, and it's to me about camaraderie, friendships, and it's not just to me, because the important thing I also ask of the guys is that we're all on the same wavelength, because you've got 4 musicians, you've got a guy who's more of a sales background. We all have to communicate really, really well, and communication in every industry, I believe, is so important. And from the communication, we know where we're heading, and we know where we want to get to in 12 months' time. Any questions, guys?
Type of music?
The music is kind of indie rock side of things. It's all original, we don't do covers. The actual style, I guess you could compare to bands like Joy Division from the 80s, the Cramps. It's something along those sort of lines. Very fun, very camp kind of Scottish singer, not me. One of my friend's actually Scottish. He isn't gay, but he has a very camp style on stage, and he's really it does make people look. And you need to have draw cards, and every member of the band actually has a complete individual look, just by luck. Just by luck. The other nice thing about that is everyone's from different backgrounds and everyone has different groups of friends. So there's a big array of different people who come along to the gigs. So, any other questions at all, guys?
What percentage does the manager take?
We are not in a position where we make any money. We have a kitty. Generally, gigs, we do it for the love. I do it for the passion. We all do it for the passion and the enjoyment. We maybe make 100, 150 bucks a gig, of which I take all the money and I keep it in a drawer in my house. And we've got a kitty at the moment of about 500 bucks. The rest of the money from all the other gigs is kind of been had with dinners, going for drinks with the guys. If we want to put money towards some piece of equipment or something like that, then we take money out of the actual kitty. Someone has to keep it, and being that I set everything up, I feel I'm trusted and the guys trust me with it. So that's where we're at with that. Any other questions, guys?
Yeah, so how did the other guys meet?
It's quite a kind of interesting kind of things. I mean, I met the Scottish guy, the singer, through meeting another Scottish guy in IKEA, and I heard him in the queue. And he was from Edinburgh, but I actually knew the suburb in Edinburgh he was from the way he spoke. And I went up and said, "Mate, you're from Leith." And you're at Highby, which is a football team. I'm a Jambo, but I just knew with the look of him. He was like, "Hi, how did you know that?" And I ended up, he took my number, went out for drinks, and I met Ross, singer there. Ross only lives up the road from me. So the other guys, in terms of how they knew, Adam was from WA, from Western Australia, moved to Brunswick. Guys were looking for a drummer, and it was kind of through an ad, that one. I don't really know how Shane knows Ross, but I know that Ross knows Jono, who's our bass guitarist, because Jono was his hairdresser, and he found out he was a bass guitar player. So that's how that kind of formed, and then the group of four came together. It's not always smooth sailing. We do have the odd disagreement, but yeah, we're able to smooth it over and keep everyone happy. So, any other questions?
What's been the biggest obstacle you've had to face so far? I guess given that people in the music industry and rockers are sort of stereotyped as being bad boys and out of control. Have you had any issues?
Yeah, I think the biggest hurdle we face, the biggest issue for us is there's a Melbourne clique within the music industry. Unless you're in the know, there's a group of 20 or so bands. They're all under similar agents, or they're all friends of friends, and they're all established and they've been there for 3-4 years. They play all the big venues on a regular basis, almost in a circle. It's not quite designed like that, but for new bands that are 12 months old, to break into that clique is very, very difficult. That would be the thing that I find is our biggest hurdle going forward. Is getting
for that.
What's that?
Have you got a plan for it?
Yeah, I mean, for us, I think, we can either try and join the clique, or we can actually try and make our name in our own way by, our own self-promotion, by getting radio play, and, I don't necessarily think being part of the clique's the way forward. If we get the opportunity, then, we'll look at it at the time, but ultimately there's enough people in Melbourne. It's a big place that we could probably get our own following anyway, out with the Melbourne Music Clique, so I would put it.
And what's the ultimate objective? Where do you see it going?
We discussed that at the last meeting for the 12 months ahead. To be honest, the ultimate aim is to have fun. We're not ultimately here to make platinum records. We love getting together. We love seeing